Gentlemen, welcome for the first time. Terminus, fucking live in person from the black metal guy's sinister necro crypt. Somewhere in the frigid north. I am the death metal guy. And I am here with the black metal guy shortly while he slams down a chicken thigh, and not in a sex way, in a literal way this time. He has requested that I stall while he gets some protein in him, again not in a sex way this time. So he's given me a list of things to say that are established Terminus positions that he wanted to inform you all of.
Oh no.
Number one, Grave actually a bad band who never did an actual good album. Into the Grave sounds retarded, as does the rest of the Swedish death metal scene outside of Dismember and, of course, the melodic Swedish black death bands. Number two, Graveland is okay when you're in the mood for it. he's fucking, he's glowering at me right now. You know, the problem is, unfortunately, me and the black metal guy don't actually diverge in opinions of taste that much, so it's hard to make, like, provocative statements that work for me and are against him. So, for those of you who are in the know, Stash already mentioned it, but I have traveled up north to, with the black metal guy, attend the Argus Lent show that is going on tomorrow, north of Chicago. Definitely going to be an interesting experience. I am super excited to catch Necropole for what I assume is probably going to be the only United States show that they ever do. So yeah, gentlemen, how are you all doing today? We've been, I got in yesterday into town and synced up with the black metal guy in the afternoon, and we did some catching up. This is our first time seeing each other in person in, God, what is it, like 14 years?
Like, oh god.
Yeah, it's like 2011.
I think 15 years, bro. Yeah, 14, yeah, 2011.
Yeah, so almost a decade and a half. As Staff says, Flaming Ouroboros is good, actually, but the problem is I don't agree with that either, so... yeah, so very excited to meet several people, you know, some other musicians who are friends of the podcast, some of you guys. It should be a really good time. So...
Are you recording with camera today?
No.
Okay,
No. Although the opportunity to see you shirtless is probably privileged by a lot of our fans.
Yeah, I might just go for it if we no.
So, Stash and harried former Terminus intern Hyper Shaman are going to be attending with us tomorrow. We're really looking forward to that. It's an opportunity for me to meet a lot of the people that the black metal guy has run into before at prior shows, him being from a more centralized location than I. So how about Metal Threat and how I said it wasn't gonna fucking happen and it's not happening? I'm a fucking genius. I have an IQ of 20,000. And I'm going to be hanging my hat on that for, I don't know, probably several years.
Yeah, I think you've got until the next Metal Threat, which means you've got forever.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's been interesting watching more and more information slowly come out about that, with the heavily deferring opinions of a lot of the bands involved in this whole debacle. Yep, Destruction Ritual. Yeah, Metal Threat. I mean, it'll happen, but it's like, it's going to be obviously a pale shadow of what was originally intended. You know, after the cancellation of the first one, I just got immediate bad feelings about attempting to do the same thing, but even bigger. It kind of looked like a logistical nightmare from day one, but I don't know. Paul can save the fest by booking Dripping. I don't, dude. Dripping's playing a lot right now. You know, I saw them. I want to say like 6 months ago, because they relocated down to Miami, and then, although honestly, like Dripping, like half the members just left, so it's like I think it's the main guitarist who's really the only original member now. So I don't know if we can properly call this like the same band at this point. This is like Cephalotripsy Part 2. Yeah, non-refundable hotel rooms are always dicey when it comes to events like that. Oh yeah, disgorging. Well, I mean, hey, you've got plenty of good stuff going down your way. Are you from Australia? I can't remember where you're from exactly, but Dripping was very good. It was a weird kind of set where it was like a Thursday night show and a really like young Zoomer audience, but they played extremely well. You know, they basically just played all of Disintegration of Thought Patterns, as well as I think there was one song off of that like new song off that comp they released well after the album. And I'm guessing that they're going to get back together and write substantial more material. I don't think it's just going to be a case of them, like, playing off this album forever. I know that they released, like, I don't know, it was like a little 2-3 song EP or something just recently. I haven't heard it yet, but I assume it's good. It's going to be thin. I mean, having the opportunity to see GBK and Argus Lent at the same time is pretty cool, but, like, I certainly don't think that makes up for basically every headliner dropping at this point. Give Nikhil a full day of his bands. I think that's just New Standard Elite Fest. Because I saw Nikhil relatively recently, and I think he was saying at one point he had, like, 4 sets that he was going to play for NSE, but I'm not really sure what the situation is now. Oh yeah, Tasmania. You can go hang out with Stryborg or the Carved Cross guys. Although actually, yeah, Tasmania did have some really cool kind of gore grind and brutal death stuff back in the day. I remember the day everything became nothing. What was that? That second record with all the, like, single word song titles. That was a really solid one. I also remember Excruciate and I think Corpse Carving. They might have been from Tasmania also. But yeah, actually, cool tiny scene down there. Oh, Hacks Process. It's a lame festival to begin with. Cringe bands. I don't know. Were you playing, Lothar? And gentlemen, the main man of the evening has arrived, finally.
Well, my dog, Beetle.
yes, Mr. Beetle is here, and he's just as good as promised. You see, now you gotta come down to Florida, you gotta meet Mr. Wilkins.
I really want to meet Wilkins.
Yeah. By the way, guys, we're kind of doing this guerrilla style without regular setup, so let us know about the audio if we need to turn up.
We've got 2 guys, 1 mic.
Yeah, just 2 guys sitting next to each other on the couch. With 1 mic between us, looking at a laptop.
This mic is so thick, round. It's we're chilling on the couch. We have the death metal guy has his
my THC lemonade.
I'm finishing a Monster Energy from earlier.
I like the story about how you're the recent convert to White Monster.
I'm a late adapter.
It's like you said, after you saw the Terminus starter pack on Instagram.
Someone made. Which one of you did this? I think it was probably Xerox, but somebody showed me an awesome meme a while ago that, like, found its way onto Black Vault somehow organically. It's always nice to see a Terminus meme in the wild.
Yeah.
But my buddy sent me this one that he found on Black Vault, which was Terminus starter pack with the question, and it just had like. it had the question, why do I feel so amazing all the time? And it just got like just a guy shooting an AR, revolt against the modern world, a bunch of Zins, like Tren and
and the Terminus logo,
Tren and the Terminus logo and a white monster. And I was like, damn, what a lifestyle, man! I got to start white monstering.
Yeah, or trenning. You could do that.
Yeah. Well, I have in the past few weeks I have consumed both white monster and Zin, and I can tell you they're both amazing.
How do you expect me to believe that these two aren't cuddling with each other on the couch? I mean, we essentially are. It's a love seat.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, sweetie. This has been really cool. 15 years basically since last seeing each other.
It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, basically, you might think that we're like doing things in the city. In fact, we just have been gabbering nonstop for 12 hours.
You think we'd get tired of just talking to each other, considering that we do
yeah.
We've done so many hours of podcasting together, but then we just talk more.
There's the crazy thing is that it actually feels like talking with someone face to face feels completely different, and you really don't realize that until you've known them for 15 years online, and then actually get a chance to really talk. It's much easier in person. I mean, I also don't know if the fans know this, but the death metal guy and I are pretty good at getting on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
Insofar as when we're talking in our online communication, whether it's texted or whether we're chatting, we're pretty good at getting on each other's nerves. Real life is totally different. It's great. It's extremely chill.
Yeah. Let's be honest. I get on your nerves more.
I think I get on your nerves in different ways.
Different stuff.
Yeah.
Different stuff. I bitch at you about being late to record. You bitch at me about being an asshole.
Yeah. Well, but basically, the real life, it's no substitute for hanging out with your bros IRL. It's truly not.
Yeah, it's been really good, and I'm hoping and anticipating that the next meeting will not be another 15 years.
Yeah, of course, no.
I think we're both actually in places in our lives where this sort of thing is more feasible than it's been before.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, especially now that I'm getting all that money from Peter Thiel.
now that
Terminus is soaking in the Thiel bucks.
Now that APAC has given us our dispersal.
Hey, dear Terminus, thanks for Charlie. XO. Yeah. Dear Terminus, nice shot, sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's the current situation on the ground. We'll probably meet up with some other hooligans tonight, and do exactly what we're already doing, which is just talk about metal or whatever.
Yeah. You'd think we'd get tired of this shit.
That's why we did the show in the first place.
We just loved doing this. We just loved talking to each other about bands.
Yeah, and we both realized that we couldn't stop. Right? I wished I could not be a metal critic, but I couldn't stop writing reviews in my head. And yeah. So here we are.
So I guess pertaining to stuff that people are talking about. So you're still going to you've still got tickets to Metal Threat, right?
Yeah.
So what's your, as someone who's going to be attending, this was weird. So originally I was going to attend the Metal Threat last year. I had
we both had tickets for last year.
Yeah. So I was planning to do a meetup with you and do the whole thing, do the whole weekend. And then, after it got pushed out, I was like, dude, I can't commit to something over a year out. It's I just have no idea what kind of place I'm going to be when that happens.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a refund, which, by the way, was not fucking easy. That was a multi-month process for me. Because I just had a bad feeling about it, and then I still wanted to do something, so I had considered rebuying into Metal Threat, but I was like, I heard about the Argus Lunch show, and I'm like, this is a much better opportunity. This is like way more low risk. You know?
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah, I still got a ticket, and just for all the Terminators, if you guys are coming out, like, I will be going. We will meet up and hang out, and it will be fun. I'm sure. And, you know, there is a chance that maybe it just ends up being epic in its own way. Perhaps. But I am pretty, like most of you, I'm pretty pissed. I do feel like this has really been executed in the worst possible way.
Well, this is just like...
This
is like Milwaukee Metal Fest shit. You know, this is
welcome
just...
to the Midwest, motherfucker. This is how we do things around here.
I actually didn't even think about that, but it's like, no, so Milwaukee Metal Fest was like notorious for things being fucked up and people getting stiffed, like bands getting stiffed on their payments and shit. I mean, like, you know, a lot of people online are saying, well, you know, there's still a ton of cool bands. Yes, that is true, but there's, like, holy grail bands, especially for Americans, who were intended to be there.
If you make the... I don't think you can make the entire fest around... I mean, okay, is this going to be like... Maybe we shouldn't shit-talk metal through... Well, what the hell? Why not? I think if you fuck it up that badly, I'm allowed to shit-talk your fest.
Yeah, like
it's like, yes, I am, and I am still going to the fest. I am still telling you to go to the fest if it works for you. That said, we can shit-talk Metal Threat. It's, I'm gonna go turn a light off for a little more intimate atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's putting his leg over mine. You know, actually, when I plan on doing this live stream, I wanted to. I was actually going to open with a bit about like, it's amazing to see the black metal guy. I wish he had informed me that he was in a full-time adult baby lifestyle now, but unfortunately, it's taken some adjusting, but it's good, and you know, he's living his truth, and I think that's what really matters.
I think that given that the death metal guy is coming at this from more of a fur community perspective, he's been very understanding. I always find that we get the most understanding from the fur community.
I would never yuck your yum, brother.
It's isn't that yif your yum?
I wouldn't yuck your yiff.
Yeah,
I think it would be more.
It's anyway, this is the most disgusting thread disgusting live stream we've ever done.
Hardly.
Yeah. All right. The So basically, like Metal Threat, it does seem like if the linchpins of the lineup are if you make it all about having very sort of high-energy, controversial European black metal bands that never play here, and that's obviously the big draw, then you have to work it out so at least 60% of those bands make it.
Yeah, I'm like given the nature of a lot of the bands that are dropping, like, I understand them not all making it.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I'm not saying it has to be exactly what's on the tin. It's like, bro, I fucking get it. I've been in the scene for a long time. But to lose all your flagship bands, you know, and it's really, I mean, it's like...
Yeah, it's a squad wipe.
Yeah, Satanic War Master, Sargeist, and Horna are all gone.
Graveland is obviously gone. If those aren't getting in,
did Graveland even get officially announced?
No. Polish black metal legends.
Yeah, I mean,
unless it's like fucking dark. Like, hey guys, it's Dark Fury. Dark Fury are going to be, they're here and they brought live ammunition.
I think Dark Fury are pretty committed to the hot shower circuit these days.
Yeah. Like, it's a short circuit. There's one festival.
But it works.
I don't think any... I mean, D666 isn't even making it, right?
No.
So, it's...
which is not, like, a band we especially care about, but we know it's, like, a big deal band.
They've grown on me.
Yeah, that's fine.
And they're on the list of kind of, like, controversial headliners.
Yeah, who you probably only get to see once.
Right, yeah. At least these days. They used to tour here a lot, but...
Yeah.
I think,
I was fortunate. I got to see Horna... Well, it's sort of fortunate and unfortunate. I saw Horna back in, like... '09 before I really fucking knew anything about them.
Right.
And it was
right.
cool, but it's like I can't really appreciate it.
I think your live music peak experience is seeing Migla just before they were
Before they exploded.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got to see the With Heart Starts None songs live.
Yeah, Under the Black Sun 2014, dude. It's the single best concert experience I've had in my life. Would I do it again? I don't fucking know, man. I'm a lot older, and sleeping in a car for 3 days is not really my fucking thing anymore, but depending on the lineup. That's the thing, is like, yeah, Satanic Warmaster would be really cool to see, although it is, Lowry on vocals with a backing band. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but it's a little bit different from like seeing a band that recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that plays together.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome, though. I mean, that would be so fun just hearing those songs live. I mean, I think, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we don't need to. We've flogged this horse enough in the Discord, but yeah, it's pretty. There is a bit of a. I think given, like, basically the results were predictable given how it was executed. And I think the problem is if you decide that it's going to be your last fest ever, it really backs you into a corner because you have no other opportunity to recoup your losses. So it kind of has to be the biggest fest ever. And, yeah, that's not necessarily going to work. Let's see, what are people saying in the chat? The D666 with Watain. That actually probably would have been fun. I saw Watain like just after they jumped the shark, and they were still really good live.
I've accidentally seen Watain like 3 times, and I always just like leave and get pizza during the sets.
Yeah. Flogged this car. Let's.
Flog this cargo. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's true. Yeah. Who up flogging their cargo?
Whomstead have flogged their cargo tonight? You know what I mean, boys. Disruption Ritual is saying, the cancellations are making an affirmation to make Steel Fest next year. The lineup's already great for what's announced. Man, I think that like if you have the ability to do like international jet setting for fests, more power to you. But I
don't.
It's not just a money thing, I find festivals like really exhausting. Like, the handful that I've been to, I mean, Jesus Christ, I find shows pretty exhausting these days. So, like, as cool as it would be and as much of an experience as like, is the experience going to overwhelm just the like massive discomfort of the whole process?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm turning into a pussy as I get older.
Yeah. You gotta walk. Come on, gotta go to a festival.
On occasion, I have to go to a festival.
Yeah. But I get you. It's
Well, it's gotta have a really good lineup.
There's a lot of hassle. Yeah, I mean, I think Steelfest. I think like kind of what they were going for was to have Metal Threat be the Steelfest of the U.S. And I like that idea. It just it sort of has not quite worked out that way.
Yeah.
Indeed. Say.
I think they notice you leaving. The idea of every set, the audience spontaneously leaves for pizza for exactly how long the set lasts. No, man, like I feel like I've been like kind of an avowed Watain hater for a really long time, and I feel like I'm pretty lonely in that estimation. Like, I just don't run into a lot of people that really dislike that band. So it's like, now, I mean, it seems whenever I see them live, it seems like the people are really into it, and I'm like, well, good for you guys, I suppose. Then, I saw Take and Young and In the Way on tour before the canceled tour, and now they'll probably never come back to the States. Yeah, I haven't seen Take, and it's like, while the first 3 Take records are some of my favorite black metal albums of all time, they really take a dip after that for me, so I'm not sure how much I would really get out of the live experience.
Oh, they're supposed to be a great live band. Yeah,
I'm
supposed
sure
to be.
they
They're supposed to
play
be
very
awesome.
well.
My friend actually just saw them in Iceland with Discharge.
Really?
Yeah, crazy.
That's a
lineup.
fucking insane show.
That's awesome. Yeah, he saw them in the Icelandic, like, out in the middle of nowhere, like in a field with Discharge. That's like that's a great, like, it's kind of a random lineup, but it's an awesome random lineup.
I don't even know that it's random. It's like you probably should like both.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's well balanced. Like you get sort of you get
something
two
more melodic
extremes of the
and
musical
technical and
spectrum.
dynamic,
Yeah,
and more primitive and aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Anyone here going to Hospital Fest? Like, Hospital Fest like always looks kind of intriguing to me. But I don't...
if I have more money and time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's like, I feel like the experience of a metal show and a noise show is just, like, so different. It might feel a little weird to me. But, maybe it works well.
No, mixed lineup shows are cool. I've done some of that stuff when I was younger. It's... I think it can work. It probably is more... my guess would be it'd be more of like a party atmosphere, which might not be your thing these days.
Depends on the kind of party.
Yeah, I think it could be cool, but there just aren't any, like, the bands that Dom is really invested in are just usually not the bands I'm really invested in. And, he has good taste and likes cool stuff. I get how it all fits together. It's just usually not quite my thing.
Yeah, because I don't really like most of Dom's music himself. I think that he can curate stuff fairly well, but he is attracted to certain kinds of black metal that are just very far from what I'm usually looking for.
I ended up really liking a lot of the later, and by later I mean 20-teens, like the later Prurient records and things like that. I thought were. Through the Window, I think, is an underrated album. That's just pure techno. Frozen Niagara Falls is cool. It's, I think, probably something like Hospital Fest would be really fun for the scene vibe, I think. And, the music itself would be less of a draw for me.
I think it would be, I think I'd pick the best day of it.
Yeah.
And go to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Stash says he's going to waterboarding camp. That's awesome.
Drunk libertarians and anarchists in Texas. Oh, that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
You should get some bands for it.
That's actually that's a good idea. You could probably get Ifernach to come play.
Yeah, get some outlaw rock bands to play that. Get Oldowan to make it out of the state for once.
Perhaps that can be arranged at some point.
I think the Hospital thing, it's a lot of the Hospital stuff really leans into kind of Klaxon Records kind of sounds. Which, and that is a style that so many musicians that I really like and respect are super into that has just always left me cold.
I honestly wish there were more of that stuff on the lineup. There's not a lot of black metal proper on that lineup. I think but yeah, I don't know. All right, what else? I don't know. Are we gonna just talk about shows and shit? We could do that.
We can do whatever, man. The world is our oyster. We're together, and that's what matters. As long as we have each other, we have everything.
It's let's see. So yeah, shows.
Well, shows or so far man, we really transitioned into doing more old stuff at the exact right time.
Yeah. What do you mean?
2025 has just not put out many records that I've been interested in at all.
Same, man.
There's nothing exciting going on.
I liked that. It's everyone blew their load in 2024. 2024 was a pretty strong year. 2023 was a very strong year.
I think the post-COVID years have been really good in general. But, like, I don't know, it feels like things have kind of petered out, and I'm just not seeing people talk about a record that I need to listen to.
No, I've seen a few promos recently that have actually interested me, and it's been like a year since I've seen promos that have interested me.
Yeah.
So there's maybe some stuff that's cool coming out this fall.
It does seem like there's some stuff stacked at the end of the year.
Yeah.
New
The new Volon just dropped, and that's obviously gonna be. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's obviously gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. We've got a new Old Wangash coming.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of good brutal death stuff that's going to be coming like toward the end of the year or early 26. Yeah, it's just like it's interesting. So now that we're halfway through the decade, here's a good topic.
All right.
So we're halfway through the decade, 5 years of the show. How do we think that this particular era is going to be remembered? Like what are going to be the defining ideas of the early 2020s for metal?
Yeah, well, I think. Let's see. I mean, if we want to go to like really broad strokes, I would say that it's kind of like maybe from the late teens into the 20s is like when there was a whole new generation of basically millennials and younger who got into black metal, which was a much broader audience than the music originally had. I would even perhaps count myself among that. Like, I'm not sure if I'd been growing up in the 90s, if I would have even known what black metal was. You know what I mean? I just have to admit that, right? Like, I found out about it on the internet, right? But the generation of newer people who got into it, I think there was a moment of like millennials kind of really there was a filtering out process in which over the teens, I think a lot of poser bands came up and just dropped out and like lost relevance, and some people ended up digging deeper and getting really into the tradition. And although the internet fucks things up in a lot of ways, it does allow people with the will and the skill to learn a musical tradition inside and out in a way that was kind of actually impossible for the people who invented this music, where you're getting it in this kind of more scattered ad hoc way through like zines and tape trading and whatever. It's a little more contingent about what you can get your hands on, which can lead to you making really idiosyncratic music, right? But like, I think the positive aspect of the kind of retrospective stance we can take now, looking back at it and sorting through it all and integrating it and trying to figure out how it relates, like a lot of really good music has come out of that, I think. And
I think there's been a process of like consolidation of knowledge that I think is useful.
Yeah, and I think like the best bands have clearly been doing that, and it's the kind of bands we try to highlight on the show, obviously. But I think, and you can point to like that process starting in the early teens, but it really, I think, gets going. It sort of like has borne fruit in the last 5 years, I think.
Yeah, and it's also it's easy to kind of imagine that everything from like the 2000s on is like the digital era for for metal or for culture at large. But we have to remember, like, watching YouTube regularly is not a household thing in the early 2010s. It's like that's a process that's occurring. Really,
most of the albums were not on YouTube in 2013.
Yeah.
I think by 2017 you could kind of take for granted that most of the albums are on YouTube.
Yeah. So and that's like how Zoomers were like learning about metal in a lot of these cases, which has obviously had both good and bad effects. But I do think there's something to be said. So there's always going to be something to be said for saying fuck it, picking really weird old stuff and modeling yourself after that. But I think probably on average, it's better for people to like know how to write a black metal riff, you know, to have an experience with a lot of this highly canonical stuff. I mean, if you're trying to make down the middle genre music, that can only be a good thing for that. And a lot of metal, including some of our favorite stuff, is kind of down the middle genre music.
Do you think there's been less of that over the last 5 years because everyone's so focused on niches?
No, I think that it's kind of coming back.
Right.
I think it's both. I think that we're seeing a lot of returns of ideas that are themselves down the middle genre exercises, but are very specific. Like, I think a great example of that is like the return of Ice. You know, Ice coming back and playing a very traditional style of like 90s and 2000s USBM, but simply because we're so removed from that era, it feels extremely fresh and vibrant.
Or it's Satagua.
Yeah, Satagua, Limbonic Art.
That Limbonic Art record was great. I think it's a shame about the production. I think if that had something that was a little different from like DIY digital production, that could have been really good.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like how it sounds. Like, I don't mind it. Is it too clean for you?
Yeah, it's I think it's a little bit kind of brick-walled, I think. The vocals I remember being a little bit deathcore-y, kind of like stacked. Am I right? Kind of like stacked,
to a degree.
echoing vocals.
Well, I would also argue that Limbonic Art has always gone for a kind of clean, polished sound.
Clean, polished is okay. It just sounded too, I think, like... it sounded thin. In like I don't really have good production words. You know a lot more about that, but the sterile, there was something about the tones that just wasn't that satisfying to me, but if you listen to it note by note, it's awesome. Yeah.
Disgorging Consciousness says, there's been a huge influx of cassette-style YouTube uploads of modern black metal demos, kind of passing by cassette releases or trading completely.
Oh,
what
I
do you all
see.
think of that thing? I mean, if you're just talking about the phenomena of people sort of making, like, black metal demo tapes and just sticking them directly on YouTube, I don't have a problem with it. I think a lot of the music is good. I think that it's sort of like... I think that with slightly more effort, you could get a lot more done. You know, it's like, you know, for instance, a really good example of that is, God, what is that fucking kid's name? That Zoomer who does all this, like, Seigneur Valand worship stuff. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Wait, it's a thing that is popular on the YouTube channels?
Yeah, he's got, like, a YouTube channel where he's just sort of, releases demos under like a billion different band names. And it's all kind of around like Seigneur Valand worship, but the kid has like really just kind of an insane ear for that riff form.
I don't know who that is.
Shit. When we're done, I'll be able to find it out for you because I just remember some of the titles of the records. Someone is probably going to pop it in here anyway. But it's like, so what he's doing is really cool. However, like, dude, like, get a label and put out a CD. Like, and I get why he's not going through that, because it's kind of a thankless task. And, like, what dividends does it really... Landfish gets it. Ray Zool. Yeah, Ray Xuul. Although I think he changed the name and stuff. That's the problem with these fucking kids. They'll, like, reboot their whole social media.
Right. Al Asgargarth.
Asgarazath?
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that is. I think we're talking about somebody else. But no, we're talking about Razorwolf. So yeah, this kid's obviously just like extremely talented at this very niche thing that also happens to be very popular right now. But he's just kicking out these random like 2-3 track demos on YouTube. And he's putting out a fucking lot of them, and they're like consistently good.
Yeah, we think you kind of gotta concentrate your effort towards something. That doesn't mean like, like if you have a ton of projects, try to have like 2 or 3 projects. If you're constantly putting out like very low stakes digital releases, maybe try to put out something with 10 songs. Honestly, it could be a digital release with 10 songs.
Yeah.
If you've like thought them through more and, given it okay, I understand the idea of doing, the death metal guy always reminds me, you should just put stuff out regularly and not worry about it too much, and you can build experience and confidence that way. There is something to that, but at a certain point, you got to be like, what are my 10 best songs?
Yeah.
I have all the, okay, where are my best riffs? I write better riffs now. Can I put this all together into one thing?
Well, it's like comparatively, like everyone's got different opinions. I find the recording process the most excruciating part of music. But a lot of these kids just have their workflow down and have the technical know-how to just do it really easily, and it sounds like fine or good. So it's like, you guys are already doing the hardest shit. Yeah. You're doing the hardest part of this process. You've made that easy. Now go slightly further and send a fucking email to a label, dude.
Yeah, push the writing a bit further. I think, what about, like the other thing? I think, like, channels that put out these things that are, like, always putting out a new sort of demo with a kind of, like, cool cover by some new band. We really like Rites of Pestilence. Yeah. I would say, he might be listening now. I would say Rites of Pestilence has great taste that's very close to our own. Mauda Gloria likes a lot of stuff I don't like, but also a lot of stuff that we like. And, puts out a lot of good stuff. I think it's,
Yeah, why don't these YouTube channels just, like, be labels?
Yeah, both of those might work as labels. I wonder. No Gleaming Light, also really good. I think, like, I understand that there is something to the irreplaceability of the physical artifact and the experience of listening to it and the difficulty of getting it. I do think that's important, but I think having this stuff available more widely, at least at this stage of the game, is like, it's broadly, like, good. Yeah. Also, like, everyone's fucking poor.
Yeah.
Now, okay, if you lived in, like, Peru in the 1980s, you would be like, yeah, man, we were fucking poor too. We tape traded.
Yeah,
and we like robbed people on motorcycles to like buy Slayer records.
Which is dope.
It's pretty cool. I respect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even have a motorcycle for robbing.
Well, I'd say like another thing, because Disgorging Consciousness said, he thinks it hinges on aesthetics more than anything. You think keeping it underground, but it's on the internet, passed around everywhere. I think maybe the medium bothers me a little. So I've got a point related to that.
Yeah, I think that's related to what I was saying about it being a little too low stakes at times.
Well, and it's low stakes specifically because, the weird thing about the internet is that we sort of thought that digital archiving would mean that all art lasts forever. Mm-hmm. And in a sense it does, but the problem is it's become so low effort and low stakes that it's just easy for your shit to get drowned out by everything. So now if you have a record that you really believe in, like, you're gonna have to go that extra mile. Now just, like, actually going to a label makes your stuff stand out more. Like, and believe me, we hate the fucking promo process and we think it's terrible and we don't do a lot of it ourselves. However, if you've got something that you really believe in, that you think a lot of people should listen to, I think you owe it to yourself to push it out there further. And yeah, I'm like talking to us too when I say that.
Yeah. It's I think also like there is something kind of disposable about a lot of the demos that could put out, right? We call them like border bands, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's a band with an album cover that has a cool border on it.
Yeah.
And like there's something kind of like formulaic about it often. Usually I just ignore that stuff and you pick out the demos that have some character to them.
Yeah, but, I've got like, they tend to operate in styles that I have more patience for, so I can just like show you the best 3 of the year.
Yeah. I remember, as far as like border bands, I remember like Iron Firmament's pretty good.
I don't remember them.
They're from the Pacific Northwest. It's like just sort of an assemblage. It's like a good assemblage of various. It's kind of like. It's really not unlike Oppressive Dissent,
Okay.
but it's like it's like at least 2 or 3 people, and it's kind of a just assemblage of whatever kind of 2000s underground type stuff, and it's just
cool.
It's just it's solid. It's solid. No.
So, death metal guy, how do you balance your interest in extreme metal and your Catholic faith? I'm in my late 20s and getting back into the church. So, that in and of itself is like an extremely complicated topic that I could talk about a lot, but for the sake of like giving you a straightforward answer, obviously purely my own conjecture, my own view on the subject. I've got like a pretty simple answer, which is that I don't think that God is particularly concerned about what rock and roll bands I listen to. You know, I simply don't think that the act of engaging with art, even seriously, I don't see how that could be an ungodly thing. You know,
maybe if you were like singing along to Deicide and like jacking it on the Bible,
yeah,
right. If you were like a Christian, but you're like, God, I fucking hate God. Oh I fucking hate him. What a bitch, right? That might cause some problems.
That would be one thing.
Yeah,
but so
yeah.
In a like a more serious sort of like theological perspective, I think that the nature of human consciousness as created by God is one of curiosity and consideration and study and uncertainty. You know, I don't think that there is anything necessarily irreligious or heretical about questioning your faith, about questioning its teachings, questioning whether your interpretation of it is correct, or even questioning if the faith itself is correct at all. I think that we have been created with minds and consciousness that inevitably would broach those questions. And I believe that if those questions are broached naturally from a sincere place in consciousness, that that cannot be a heretical act. You know, to better understand the nature of God and the nature of reality, I think, is an intuitive human value that is positive in and of itself. Can you be led astray by it? Certainly. But I think the impulse to learn and to be more a part of the creation by understanding it more is a perfectly godly thing. In the same way that I see... I deeply respect and sort of identify with the tradition of like priestly science in the Middle Ages. You know, to know more and to inquire, I think, is a religious experience in and of itself. So that might be kind of a strange answer, but I think that's the best one that I can provide.
That's. I mean, like. Is it like? I don't want to like speak for you or anything, but I mean, I think the death metal guy is also like, you know, he takes it seriously as a religion, but he also sort of understands it as having connections to other things. Like the death metal guy and I talk about the pagan underpinnings of Catholicism all the time.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean it's just, you know, reducible to paganism or anything, but I think. If you view the religion through a historical perspective, it will connect to other things that are more immediately salient in extreme metal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably goes without saying that it's like, for me and like a lot of guys who are like in the metal scene and into Christianity, or you know, got back to Christianity later. The way we experience the faith is certainly not this, like, perfectly credulous, fucking, like, easily deeply felt thing. There is, like, a rationality to it. And I think that a lot of people like me are sort of inherently skeptical by nature. I mean, I certainly had a long period of time where I considered myself an atheist, and not for reasons that I think are unfair.
Right.
I talk about my religion fairly sparingly on the show because I don't think it's supremely relevant much of the time. But the way I experience it is I am not a guy who is at mass and completely engrossed in the process very easily. You know, my experience of the religion is perhaps to a fault like a little bit more rationalist and a little bit more skeptical. I'm very willing to, like I said, talk about like pagan underpinnings and stuff, and to see how the religion connects to larger philosophical and religious and scientific traditions through the years. So I think my faith is real, but it may not take the shape that people would typically expect.
Yeah, it's the death metal guy is a pretty metal Catholic, I would say.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, it's like I think there's a lot of different flavors of even what we would call tradcath or whatever, and
Yeah.
I certainly find it pretty easy to communicate with him. You know, I mean, obviously, also because we've known each other forever, but you know, it's you know, and also you know, like. It's, you know, a lot of the kind of anti-Christian stuff in metal is sort of a convention. It's like, you know, and it's, you know, yeah, it's, I don't know, I can't see it. The Reverorum guy in an interview talks about, like, you know, hey, I associate God with, you know, with joy. Don't you feel joy when you're listening to Oath of Black Blood?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's and you know, yeah, and also, you know, it's not, you know, it's not a, the thing is, you know, especially for Catholicism, right? It's not a sin to be strong.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a sin to be, like, tough and cool.
Yeah.
And I think at this point of our lives, both of us are more interested in metal that focuses on sort of strength and the heroic virtues than on metal that's, like, evil
Yeah.
for the sake of it. You know, I mean, I see the evil stuff as a roundabout way of getting to those heroic virtues and at looking at them at their rawest and maybe... You know, okay, hey guys, you think you like... It's almost like, people always accuse metal of having a romanticized vision of the Middle Ages. Black metal, but even stuff before that, like Manowar, is actually the opposite. It's like, I'm going to imagine a version of the Middle Ages that's actually much nastier than it probably even was. And I'm going to rub your face in it, and you're still going to think it's cool.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, so the evil stuff can be a way of approaching a non-modern value system that you could articulate in terms of paganism or in terms, I think, of, you know, the Catholic chivalric ethos.
Yeah. And sort of just as an adjunct, I'd also like to say, just me personally, sort of removed from my own faith, I have a deep respect for people with earnestly held and logically contiguous ideology, even if they disagree with me. Which is, so for instance, both musically and ideologically, I have a tremendous respect for Paul Ledney.
Oh yeah, you gotta tell them the Ledney thing. I gotta go piss, but tell them.
Oh yeah, well I was just gonna mention how, you know, when we reviewed Crux Simplex, I was, or perhaps it was something else before that, Profanatica approaches anti-Christianity from a perspective that is actually anti-Christian. It is not a mere inversion of symbols. It is not the sort of like weird immolation thing where the problem with Christianity is that it's insufficiently Christian. He expresses that he has contempt for it because he thinks that it is weak, that it is not powerful enough. You know, the imagery and the blasphemy used to express that is like literally against the Christian value system in a very sort of fundamental, primordial way. And while it would be easy to see him as like an enemy of mine as a result, I don't think so. I think that he has a radically different system of belief that he pursues earnestly, and I just have a tremendous amount of respect for that. So, catching up, that was like a longer detour than I expected. So while I wait for the black metal guy to finish pissing, let's go back to this. Nick, of course, NFT black metal demos, that's real digital underground. Yes. I don't know, I wasn't there a brief period where there were a couple metal bands attempting to launch NFTs or something? What a stupid fucking year-long period the NFT thing was. Despite,
Dude, I feel like there's got to be a Cradle NFT.
Dude,
you got Filth Coin?
They're the only ones I would allow to do that.
Filth Coin.
Despite my criticisms about the internet era of underground music, it's the reason as to how people in countries without continuously active scenes like me were able to listen to these bands. That's our buddy from Thailand.
Yeah.
I still prefer a more traditional way of promotion and distribution, though. I agree. So, it is, like, in a sense, sort of a necessary evil, and it's just merely, like, a technological reality. And, I can't say that I'm apart from it. Where do I hear most of my new bands? From the internet. From, finding random shit while looking around. A lot of recommendations from people I respect. There are consequences to the sheer ease of access, and that does inherently kind of devalue the art being made.
It can mean you spend less time with the things you love. I really enjoy the hunt. I'm always kind of like, lately I've stepped off it, but for a long time, what I really liked is, the death metal guy will often, like, listen to his 10 favorite records.
Yeah,
and
I think we all kind of do that.
Yeah, but for a long time, I kind of got in a routine where I was kind of like, more often what I was doing was like, in my own time when I wasn't listening for the show, was like seeking out classic records I hadn't heard that were interesting to me.
I still do a lot of that.
Yeah, so like I would like shoot the shit with death metal shit posting. Shout out to Meat Man. Like I would be like talking with Meat Man, and he would send me like, he would be like, bro, have you heard of like Morgion or whatever? And I would go look that up, and I'd be like, damn, that's cool, right? Or Morgion or Belial or whatever. You get some cool deep cut recs from people. That's kind of how we found Samain when we reviewed them. I remember the guy from Mongrel's Cross was like, "Bro, you gotta check out this Australian band."
Yeah. And when you get a recommendation directly from Mongrel's Cross, that's like,
pretty sick.
Yeah, you're gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's so like I enjoy. It makes it very easy to do this kind of like low key archival sleuthing to find cool shit. But it does, even that, which I consider pretty well spent time, does take you away from like, look, I'm gonna listen to like Solidarity by Pagan Hellfire for the 72nd time, right? I'm gonna listen to I'm gonna listen to Following in the Voice of Blood again, or Blessed Are the Sick or whatever, right? There's just records you can really like.
That are infinite. They have infinite replay value.
And when I was a kid, I would do that a lot more, right?
Well, yeah,
part of it is that you get so many listens to those fundamental bands when you're young that later you look for more stuff. But
but some of them really are for, and there is something to be said for there being a quality to being a teenager, being poor, and only having 10 CDs. That's one of the ways I listened to Gorgoroth's Pentagram like over 100 times over the years. Yeah. And I think that when you do that, you definitely gain a level of appreciation for these records. It's like, None So Vile, probably my most listened to record of all time. Got to be well over 200 listens on that. Mm-hmm. I think that something is it's so easy to constantly have a source of novelty. You end up, it's like De Mysteries is a great record, but I'm not sure you really understand just how great and how detailed that is until your 20th play.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's true for sure. It definitely is like a closer listening album. Yeah, it can be distracting. And I think like and it it also just definitely does make it easier for posers to access things.
Yeah.
It's these days a poser can access anything and successfully rip it off within 6 months finding it out. So we got to stay one step ahead and stay vigilant, brothers.
Yeah. Nick from Hessian Firm is repeatedly making fun of Overkill, apropos of nothing, but we support it, because Overkill is like...
Yes, Overkill are the moneylenders who shall be scourged from the temple.
He literally...
I know.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing. Yeah.
Overkill are genuinely like one of the worst of the classic rock.
It just falls in that horrible kind of like middle territory of like not heavy metal and not extreme metal. It's just thrash.
I did see them live once. Well, they were the headliner, and I was there to see like Symphony X as like the warm up for them. I was like, let's give them a shot. I was with one of my drummer buddies, and we got a song and a half in, and we fucking left.
I did that with Pentagram.
Really?
Yeah. Pentagram is a fine band, but I just waited till they played Sign of the Wolf and then left.
Fair. I mean, I like Pentagram. I like. I never listened to them.
Yeah.
But I think they'd be cool to see. Let's see. People talking about how because I was talking about Paul Ledney and his like truly deferring from Christianity rather than just having these sort of like weird like Christianity being insufficiently Christian. It's like, no, he actually has a different value structure here.
Sure.
So a lot of them are saying that with the imagery he uses, Disgorging Consciousness said he thought he was an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And there's a couple other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses in here talking about having a similar impression.
Interesting.
I didn't realize we were a nexus for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses.
Interesting.
I don't really know enough about them to identify specifically the imagery that relates to that, so I'll kind of defer to you guys. I mean, I haven't seen him jack off on a copy of Watchtower magazine or anything yet.
Yeah.
So.
I actually jack off on a copy of Searchlight magazine.
That's the other one, right?
I think that's the English state-sponsored Antifa magazine.
Oh, okay.
It's, yeah.
Totally unfamiliar.
Yeah. Landfish, no, I've probably never heard those things. I'm completely talking out of my ass. I have never listened to Overkill. They live in that sort of vague territory that Nuclear Assault does. I sort of have an idea of what it sounds like, but I just don't care.
Nuclear Assault is much better.
I know you say you like Nuclear Assault.
Yes, that's one of the weird rare threats.
Landfish, I've been listening to a lot of like this past summer I've been mostly listening to kind of like new wave of British heavy metal and like sort of robust early thrash stuff and stuff like that. Like I've been going back to the first two Metallica records and whatnot. So like I will perhaps give that a shot at some point. I'll try Overkill, and if I like it, the death metal guy can give me a noogie on stream.
So Sleepy actually has some kind of interesting question. He says, "Bros, are there guideposts you want to hit with each episode of the podcast?" That's kind of an interesting question. I'm going to assume that he's talking about like with the pivot to like covering older material.
Do you mean Sleepy? Do you mean like by guidepost? Do you mean like do we come up with a plan? Because then the answer is yes. Terminus kind of is a writing project in that we usually when we're doing an episode, if we were doing one of the old episodes where we review 4 bands, we have a Google Doc that's usually like at least 10 pages with like we each have we'll write down our samples and our timestamps, and we will usually write down anything from a couple bullet points, like a paragraph under each sample. we would do sort of overall thoughts at the top, which could be quite long-winded.
It could be. I've done a page before.
Yeah, the death metal guy will just kind of like write full paragraphs to get it out of his system.
Yeah, that's just how I write. It's like it's harder to write more concisely.
Yeah, yeah, and he doesn't like usually read off of those. It's more just like an initial run at the thing he wants to say on the show. I try to do it a little more outline style usually, but it really, there were times in the old era where like we were both really writing out a lot, and so we still do the note documents.
They're much shorter now.
They're shorter now because it helps me, I think. I found that the worst episodes I've done, or the episodes where I've been the least happy with how it's gone, has been stuff where I've like written things out in great detail before, and then tried to triangulate between those notes and like actually having a conversation with the death metal guy.
Like trying to get there becomes arduous.
Right, it's like, but there's this thing in my notes that I need to say.
Yeah.
How do I get there? And how do I phrase it without just reading off my notes?
And we also like. There is a kind of strange quality of what we do of like an improv thing where it's like we know we're going to try to leave each other space to, because we both see the note documents, we know like important points, and we will kind of like set each other up to approach those. So there's an almost like a super light sort of scripting quality to it. Mm-hmm, or at least like a guideline for us to work through.
Yeah, we'll have like, I mean, one of us will give the other one kind of a pretty obvious segue cue, or like sometimes like when we're really in the zone, sometimes if there's like a recording problem or something, if we get like a good minute and a half and then it turns out that we weren't recording or whatever, we might go back and just actually act it out. Because there's like, what's the point of...
Fair.
Yeah, like, sorry, that was mint banter, as the lads would say. It was just kind of like, there is a lot of note-taking that goes into it. These days it's much less because we try to allow more room for spontaneity, and because we're now talking about records that we've each listened to between 10 and 100 times.
Yeah.
So
he also did clarify later on, character limit, curious to how you identify key things with each album to talk about. So I think those present themselves pretty naturally. Mm-hmm. I think that there's things, for as much detail as we go into, I think a lot of the things that we talk about are the things that immediately jump out at us. I think that, so like for a band like Sacramentum, it's like, obviously we're going to talk about how a riffing style is being born before our eyes through what they're doing. Talking about the sort of like constant dueling leads. These are things just that jump out to us. And from that, we can talk about structural things like how, because of this sort of linear lead process, it lends itself to these kind of horizontal song structures. And what does this mean? Well, it means we're getting even further, we're getting more into that sort of crypto-neoclassical territory that a lot of black metal bands aspire to, So I feel like once we have a primary idea, the rest kind of fall into place naturally.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of trying to think about like... Yeah, the basic question of Terminus is just what makes this riff so sick.
Yeah.
And then you really try to explain that. And you scale it up then to the level of the song, right? Okay, why is the interaction between these two riffs so sick? And so on. So it's really kind of like, the way we think about it is functional. It's like, how does it work? It's like, we start from songwriting. Of course, I'm not good enough to write almost any of the music we cover on the show, but, I have sort of a sense of how it's done.
Yeah.
And, I think one thing we try to model for people is that if you listen carefully, that can really expand your ability to write. Even if you're already... There are many people who are technically good guitarists who cannot write a riff to save their lives, whereas... I'm a technically shit guitarist, but like I can record riffs in my phone at this point, just like humming and whistling. They're like legit pretty sick, many of which I can't play. I'm not saying that as some flex. It's like, I haven't done anything with them. But, like, you can... Practicing your ear is its own kind of skill. Like, learning an ear. You can do it yourself both by, like, trying to think about why you like what you like in a song, and also just by, like, humming and whistling to yourself instead of listening to your headphones. It's, just making shit up as you walk around. So I think, like, Terminus is very much oriented toward that kind of, like, workman-like, sort of craftsman songwriting.
Yeah, this shit is, like, made out of notes.
Yeah,
notes that you can understand.
Yeah, and so at our best, I think we are able to describe the music as, like, we're able to, like, talk about what the music is doing. We're able to use, like, verbs and nouns to talk about actions and structures.
Yeah.
At our worst, when we're tired, we use adjectives. That's when it starts to read...
That's good. Yeah, that's true.
That's when it starts to read more like metal criticism.
Yeah.
This is that kind of thing, and it feels like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The harsh vocals give it a sense of, like, misery and torment.
Right.
So, Sleepy also asked me, do you find your approach to writing about books is different from how you talk about music? Well, yeah, I mean, it's a different medium, and it demands different things. So, whether I'm writing book reviews on my own or doing stuff on the podcast about books, I mean, the obvious difference there is that that's completely scripted. I am reading off a script when I record those episodes of the podcast, and obviously writing is writing for just the textbook reviews that I do. I think, in a sense, books are sort of easier to talk about, just because they are a more defined and immediately intelligible style of art compared to music, which I consider kind of the most abstract art form.
Sure.
Talking about music requires translating music into language, and I don't have to do the translation for a book. It's already I'm already working in the medium that the art already exists in, which makes it much more straightforward. Now, it is a little bit more difficult in that with more clear content, there's more content that needs to be addressed to really do it justice. The amount of total information conveyed by a book is far above that of most albums, because albums justifiably thrive off of repetition and certain ideas recurring. And you'll see tendencies like that in books here and there, but those are largely going to be kind of linear narratives, or at least, complicated hodgepodges of ideas. So the simple answer is, like, yes, it's radically different simply because it is a different medium. And in the same way that I'd say writing about movies is going to have different requirements, writing about visual art will have different requirements. I think you have to tailor the style to the medium to do it justice.
Dude, Nick has been going at it.
Nick, well, I do real quick want to read Nick's fucking...
Yeah, can you read all of them, actually? He's been putting a lot of work into this, and he's trying to go to sleep in France.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, that's really his... The nicknames of Overkill members. This is just flawed. Bobby Blitz Ellsworth. Rat Skates. Tony Tongue Depressor Evans. Snake Boots. Robbie Date Rape Collins. Jimmy the Toolbar Affinito. Fat Ricky, Dub Lubwub, Trash Bandit, Sean the Raping Irishman. God damn. I think that's my favorite. Is just Sean the Raping Irishman. God damn, that is really solid.
Martin asks, what's better, black metal or black metal?
Death metal, gore grind, obviously. Rat Skates is no nickname. Notice no quotes. Cephalotripsy was back home in San Diego, and I saw them, talked to Angel for a while. Thank you for getting me into them. Yes, while I didn't love the last record, I'm sure seeing them live is a fucking trip. I'm not hugging my dog and hating Overkill until I fall asleep. Exodus might be even worse. I'm not sure. I think Overkill is still worse, but Exodus is very bad. So, our buddy from Galicia, I feel a little bit surprised that there aren't more good YouTube channels or podcasts.
Oh, sorry. I didn't. I boomered. I touched
You're
it.
not used to us being in the same place at the
Yes,
same
yeah,
time, so
yeah.
you can't just scroll.
I
up
can't
around.
scroll while you're talking. Oh my god! How am I going to look at porn?
Very carefully.
Yeah.
Or you have a phone.
Yeah, that's
There
right.
you
That's
go.
right. Okay, yeah.
I feel a little bit surprised that there aren't more good YouTube channels or podcasts doing the review analysis discussion on metal releases like Terminus, RFI, Hessian Firm, and obviously
Bunsen Burner Podcast.
Yeah. You know, man, like, sometimes I wonder about that, but I also think that the market is bearing as many as it can.
For real, yeah. Actually, that is true.
I think that while... So we gotta keep in mind that what you're talking about is, like, literally a circle of people who all know each other and who have all... like,
many of
collaborated.
whom sort of crossed paths. Without getting into too much detail, we know some of these people from a long time ago under different aliases.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like... There are really 20 people who do this, max.
Yeah.
And probably less. And so I think a lot of us kind of...
And about 50% of which we know from years ago.
Exactly.
Like-
And so, like, kind of the same group of people was in one configuration or another talking to each other. Also, like, everyone who does this read Anus to some degree.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't... and read people who read that. So...
Yeah, it's like, it's Anus, it's old Metal Archives reviews,
Right.
it's Blogspot stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know... It's old, I mean, it's Bardo, it's
Yeah.
Heathen Harvest.
Heathen Harvest for sure. I also, like, I mean, I don't know... I think both of us did read some hard copy music writing when we were younger.
Yeah.
I did more for, like, sort of punk and art rock stuff. I would, like, read music magazines. I would read, like, Mojo or The Big Takeover. And, you know... And I would read, like, the New York Times critics section, honestly.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, whatever you could get your hands on, really. But yeah, anyway, that we kind of digressed. I just started old man rambling. But basically, like, there are only like 15 people who do this.
Yeah, and actually, and have been for several years.
Yeah.
But, like, going along with that, it's like, I think that it's also, like, we all have kind of the same audience. Like,
Yeah,
or at
yeah,
least
yeah,
there's
yeah.
just massive crossover in
Yeah.
those Venn diagrams.
Yeah.
So, like, you guys are it. You guys are the ones who
Yeah.
want this.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the RFI is far and away the biggest audience because he succeeds in doing stuff that is very thoughtful and well argued. You know, he uses a lot of samples and stuff and explains them really well, while also making it quite digestible
And making it fun.
and fun. Yes,
Yeah.
and we like to think we have fun, but it's not as fun as like. It's not as fun as RFI just, like, riffing for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and doing, like, goofy, like, sound effects and memes.
We don't have Korean chicks.
Yeah, we could.
We could. We have to load up the longboat.
Yeah, but yeah, so RFI, I think that he has done a great job of, like, keeping the analysis, like, really strong.
Yeah.
And specializing in these whole band overviews. I think that's a good thing.
It's a different style. Yes,
we all do kind of different things.
Yes.
I think that's good. I think that we all do kind of similar things, but with different centers of gravity. You know, RFI doing those whole band overviews, Bunsen Burner doing, like, deep dives into single obscure old albums. And
Coupled with, like, the sort of genuine Joe Rogan of extreme metal podcast, like freewheeling shit shooting.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, Hessian Firm doing, like, stuff that's concentrating more on interviews and music theory, very in-depth.
But when Hessian, I actually forgot to promote this when we did our Sacramentum video, but, like, you know, like, I shilled the Hessian interviews, but I meant to also say, like, they put out a Sacramentum tribute episode before we did, and it's probably better.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, Sacramentum is, like, that's their baby. And so when Hessian does when they do a review, it's usually closer to, like, actual music theoretical analysis than we get. They did a very nice thing with, like, the guy from Apocatastasis reviewing God, Mystic Places of Dawn or something, or what was it? With the Greek, the early, it's the Greek death metal bit, Septic Flesh, the first Septic Flesh record or whatever. Like, you know, that's like, it's kind of like what we do, but there's a lot more talk about, like, then he transposes it up a seventh, and, like, they actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So when Hessian does a review, it's, like, really theory and, like, on the neck of the guitar songwriting oriented. And we're more trying to, like, bridge between that and the more broad impressions. Yeah, more conversations. So
I think there's kind of a gradient of like conversational to like theory heavy.
Yeah.
But like the thing to remember is like there's not a lot of channels doing this, and really it's like the audience is small and very dedicated for this kind of material. And I'm pretty happy with that. You know, I like you guys are. It doesn't really matter that all of our channels are small. You guys are actually, like, invested in it. You ask good questions. You seem to think about music in ways that are similar to us in a lot of ways. So I think that, like, keeping that standard up is really important. You know, I would rather just do this, like, slow trundling growth we've had the whole time rather than, like, compromise and make more like dopamine addict content and, you know, get a larger fan base of people who don't really get it.
Yeah, we could do a little more to promote the show, and we probably will, honestly, but like it's it's like it's good that it's inaccessible. I mean, I do think that all of the, we love Cromlech, and in some ways the Terminus format is the Cromlech of extreme metal. Right? Many of these episodes sort of cannot stand under their own weight. It's, yeah.
Let's see. A lot of people talking shit about Anthrax. Petition for you guys to cover Battles in the North this winter.
Didn't we already cover that?
No, we
Sons
did
of Northern
Sons
Darkness.
of Northern Darkness. Yeah, Battles would be great to cover.
Who's asking for that?
Let's see. Where is it?
Matt42. Okay. We could do that. Have you listened to our Sons of Northern Darkness thing? Honestly, like, we gotta make
we gotta make like I think like we still have patrons only videos that are private.
Yeah.
Some of those might just kind of suck and we might not need to make them public, but like there's definitely a few more that we should just make public.
Yeah,
because
sure.
like there's no reason not. Like we aren't making new patrons only content at this point. We just don't have time. So and we still haven't fixed the Patreon tier system, but but basically like we did a Sons of Northern Darkness and a very in-depth Sons of Northern Darkness review that I think we're quite proud of. That's kind of, it's not the only thing we have to say about Immortal, but it is like,
it's a good chunk of it.
Yeah, it's a.
I think that it's like, I think that covering like Battles in Pure Holocaust, or or we could Battles in At the Heart of Winter. Although it's like, I feel
nobody needs to review At the Heart of Winter.
Well, I feel like all the territory's been covered by like other reviews we've done.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want a review of At the Heart of Winter, then like listen to our review of like Sacramentum and like a review of like Take will do it.
At the Heart of Winter, like it's like At the Heart of Winter is like a fucking AC/DC album.
Yeah,
like
well, we did Sons of Northern Darkness, which is like,
which has a lot of that in it. Yeah, like if you like fucking what's the big jam? We're the Tyrants.
Oh, Tyrants, yeah.
Yeah, like, I do think Battles in the North would be worth it just because it's so influential on a lot of things we like.
And it is actually my favorite Immortal.
It's I've spent very little time with it, but it is hands down objectively the best. It's awesome. Yeah. And it just has like a lot of kinds of riffs that I really like that I didn't realize came from that.
Yeah. It's always been a toss up between that and Pure Holocaust. For me.
Metal
Maniacs and Pit Magazine were mainstays when I was a teenager. Pit Magazine fucking ruled. Yeah. That was really cool. Let's see. Was Denver this bad when you guys got in? Because I'm about to crash out. DEN? Is that? But that's not O'Hare. Yeah.
Oh, this bad when you got...
So it was pretty shitty when I arrived in O'Hare. I had to sit on the runway after landing for a fucking hour waiting for a gate. But
Stash, you crashing out for real?
Let's see. RFI is good fun, great to chat to. Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, yes, he's very
RFI
cool.
has the correct take on Heretic by Morbid Angel, and that's all that matters. I haven't seen that. I'm curious, because that's a record that I have complicated feelings about these days. Let's see. RFI was my entry point into this. I bear immense shame for ignoring YouTube recommendations of his videos because I thought the deepest metal critique on YouTube was Cover Killer Nation. Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, RFI is definitely a big step forward from that. Mm-hmm. Joe Rogan of Extreme Metal Podcast. I found y'all through Trichomoniasis, and I was mind blown to see someone also crazy enough to like this stuff making a real podcast about it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a weird way to find us. You know, that's one thing I've always been slightly disappointed by. Was like I've always wanted more like brutal death and like fringe kind of death and grind people to get into it, but it's like those guys just don't seem to interact with like critical music stuff in the way that like black metal people do. I don't know. Let's see. Nick, of course, nah, bro, just read Kim Kelly reviews. We were talking about that while walking the dog earlier.
Yeah.
No cover Blizzard Beasts. Well, Blizzard Beasts is a really weird record. It's interesting. It's sort of like has a lot. It's like getting a lot of the death metal back into the mix.
They got their Battles in the North. They got their Blizzard Beasts. That was just a clip from Ice, the Ice interview.
Yeah.
Because he's from Baltimore, he sounds black. Awesome.
Blizzard Beasts. So it's cool. It also has very weird production that I don't love.
Blizzard Beasts is like, but you know, if we reviewed that, we'd be like, this record rules. It has like that kind of like, yeah, it has awesome weird production, right? And it has that kind of like Morbid Angel kind of, but the drummer can't keep up.
It's kind of.
I don't know. It's been years.
No, actually, Blizzard Beast, the drumming is better. Battles in the North is the one with the super sloppy drumming because Amoth did it. Let's see. Fish. Immortal Angel. Blizzard. It's their biggest sounding album, but outside of the title track and a couple other songs, it's not really their top to bottom best, in his opinion. I think he's talking about At the Heart of Winter there. I'd actually agree. I don't consider At the Heart of Winter among my favorite Immortal records. Like, I think if you want, like, pop Immortal, you do, like, I think Sons of Northern Darkness is better, and if you want, like, black metal Immortal, Pure Holocaust or Battles in the North is better.
Yo, we got a Merkvid mention in the chat.
Merkvid Bro is here.
Yeah. I think he's probably talking about Alaskan Berg Wanderer, who I do know. I know who that is. But yeah, Merkvid, that's been a fucking while.
Yeah,
the death metal guy showed me that in 2011, I think.
Yeah, all that Runefire Records stuff is very cool, and we'll probably talk to some people while we're up here about that. Let's see. We had one person who found the show via the Sotos episode and then made a quick retreat.
Yeah.
Heretic good, Sandoval really shines, the production is bizarre, but the whole thing sounds like a runaway train, complimentary. I've come around and warmed up to Heretic over the years. I still think the production is like weird as fuck and kind of difficult to listen to after a while. And I think the songwriting can be kind of uneven, but I think it is more good than bad at this point.
It's funny that people find us on Spotify when they kind of Google weird shit.
That is cool. That it, like, you know, that Spotify, people find us just by, like, looking for bands.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's kind of how I figured the only way they'd ever find us if we sort of bait and switched them.
yeah.
Like when I'm putting in the tags for our YouTube videos, I will totally put in like full album as one of the tags.
Yeah.
Say sorry if you want the full album by this band, you might be interested in our review.
Well, there's Stash saying he found us, and then EGHSRC says, I found you guys trying to find Paimon Gate on Spotify, but I
There
found
you
your
go.
review instead. I spent
It's,
a week listening to you nonstop while delivering packages. That's really cool, man. Yeah. Blizzard Beast has his flanger on the guitar constantly. Yes, it's very, very weird guitar tone on that. How's the year-end show going to go without the new release reviews? I don't know. I've actually been wondering about that myself. How we might.
I mean, we could cover some new records, but it certainly wouldn't be exhaustive. It would be more like, here's the only things we cared about this year.
I think at this point I think it's like safe to say that like there may come a time in the future where we're covering more new stuff again, but we'll probably never go back to
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, we're never going to go back to like an episode every week of all new fucking records.
That was fucking insane.
And we kept it up for years.
Yeah, I think that destroyed my mind. I'm still, the death metal guy can attest, I'm still reeling.
But I think that I see the Terminus is switching from a review show to we're that's always going to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like don't worry, we're never going to like switch off of that stuff completely. However, I think that like it now has an identity that revolves more around like there is a sort of idea about this music that exists now. And there is a small but dedicated community around it. And honestly, I think that in a way it's like it's almost like sort of getting past that. It's like now you guys share the worthwhile records with each other while we switch gears to talking more about history, talking more broadly about scenes and kind of movements.
I haven't forgotten the neo-folk episode or the crust punk episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
The black metal guy is the black metal guy does have ye old crippling depression. So it's sort of like when I'm able to sort of like banish the wraiths from my chamber, I should be able to complete some of these.
Yeah. I think we were doing kind of an almost like weird backwards thing where we built up such a set of ideas about this music through like viewing them on the microscopic scale, album by album. Now it's the opportunity to kind of like expand upon that, talk about bigger ideas between multiple bands and the historical legacies of certain important albums and bands.
Yeah.
You know, now we've done sort of the hard work of creating the language for it. Now we just get to kind of like paint and have fun. You know, talking about stuff that.
That's a nice way of thinking of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've earned the right to just say stuff. Yeah. Somebody said something about us doing a Polish episode with Jub. There will be another episode with Jub soon. We were waiting. I mean, I don't think this is a big giveaway. We were waiting to do we were gonna like try to do like wait for the new Bill Skriniar whenever that came out, but Vidar keeps holding out on us.
Yeah.
Keeps being in a I guess I have to go write all the riffs for Absurd now.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, because like after we did that first episode, we talked about it, and we're down to collaborate again.
It could have happened much sooner, but Bill Skriniar kept not releasing a new album.
Yeah.
So we have to think of something else. There's probably a few decent candidates this year. I think the Volon record might be a good one. We could do come up with a pair of them.
But it's also a thing where it's like just being transparent. It's like collaborating with other people is like more scheduling and it is more complicated. It actually takes more work than you would think.
Well, also kind of just like I think we're always sort of like
You know what I would say? To me, it sort of feels like cheating. Because I know every time we do a collab, it's going to be awesome and fun, and it will bring something, like, fresh to the show. But it's like, yeah, but don't we need to do, like, a normal episode first?
We have a rigorous...
Like we've gotta,
black metal intentionality to what we do.
Yeah, we got to work through our schedule. And
we need
the
to
collabs,
do some boring riffs before the big one.
We've got to work through a schedule, and we've got some collabs that we, the collab is a special thing, and you have to decide, like, okay, we're going to talk about this or that thing, but there's things we want to just be Terminus things. We've got, our next thing is another Swedish Black Death band. We've already kind of started working on it, so we'll probably do the second part in a little mini-series there. And that's not something we really can do as a collab because, we've already got enough stuff we want to say.
Yeah.
Right. It's more fun to make it like a special thing about, here's a classic record we all really like, here's a new record we all really like. It's also the 3-person format can be a little chaotic, so
it can be. I think that all the people that we've worked with in that regard have been like great about like giving space and
spacing. Yeah,
space.
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think
it hasn't really been an issue. Now, never mind. I'm wrong. It hasn't been an issue at all.
No, but I get where you're coming from.
It's
But yes, I think another collab with him and a number of other people could be good.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way forward also in terms of promoting the show.
More people have found us because we reviewed a friend's band for our Thai friend.
Mm-hmm.
Found you looking up Reverorum on YouTube.
Hey, person who was asking Death Metal Guy about Catholicism, if you haven't seen them, check out our old reviews of Reverorum Ibmalakt, because he talks about it more there.
Yeah, where it's more like directly related. Full album listeners versus singles listeners is a massive litmus test for who should be interested in serious extreme metal critiques. Yes.
Agree.
The album format is correct.
Yeah, if you are not listening to full albums, you should not be listening to metal. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's like basically non-negotiable. I do not agree with the TikTokification of like releasing random singles and shit.
The mix format maybe is for techno. That might have its place there.
A lot of people kind of arguing about the first Immortal record, Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism. I'm actually not a big fan of it myself. I think it has cool aspects, but I think it is very clumsy.
It doesn't have the things that would be unique about their later stuff.
Yeah, it's just sort of like categorically.
I like it because it sounds sounds like falling over. Let's see.
Nick says that the new format is better for us. It's like, well, it's certainly better for fucking sanity.
Also, a shout out to Berg Wanderer. Yes, I think he did indeed probably, although I believe I had my own correspondence with you going way back from when I found the Rubazal stuff on Bandcamp, I think. The Bestial Conclave, yes.
Metal is really like classical when you think about it by showcasing a bunch of Necrophagist solos. A classic. Haxpro says, I'm not sure how many people here would be interested, but I think it would be great if Terminus did an episode on Tucker-era Morbid Angel, excluding Kingdoms, of course. That's something I already wanted to do. I wanted to do Formulas and Gateways. Maybe I could do Heretic, but it's like, Heretic is just like obviously not as good as the other two.
Do we do like Tucker-era Morbid Angel and Barney-era Napalm Death?
I think Barney era Napalm Death, absolutely. I'd love to do that, but it'd have to be separate episodes. Dude, I've got a lot to say about Morbid Angel. That's like my first favorite metal band, kinda. I have to get a Morbid Angel tattoo. Like I've been skimping on that. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna get.
I have some things to say about Morbid Angel too. I think that was one of the first things. I think I learned something about music by like learning to appreciate Morbid Angel.
Yeah,
pretty formative for me.
They are just the best Tampa death metal.
I had a friend who was really into like the anus type stuff, and no homo, and did the and was always saying great things about Blessed Are the Sick in particular.
Let's see, Immortal. Everyone wants to hear about Immortal. Let's see. Oh, Rian Chaos episode.
We've been threatening to do that for a long time.
I think a dissection episode could be good. I think you would really like the pre-Somberlane dissection.
Yeah.
Which is very Morbid Angel-y. It's like
I think it's weird, but I think I remember of the classic dissection stuff, my favorite thing actually being the Where Dead Angels Lie EP.
Well, that would be pre-Somberlane, right?
Yeah, I also just like the EP format for that style. I think it can be a bit much as a full length, but I've always liked the EP as a format in general.
I think the EP is good. Yeah.
Let's see. Albums all the way. Playlists are for fest promos, and Spotify blends are for trying to get laid. Fair. My intro to Immortal is my friend giving me Sons of Northern Darkness in middle school. At that point, I was 12 and I was a Slipknot kid. It blew my mind. That's nice. I got Sons of Northern Darkness probably when I was like 13 or 14, so not far off.
Yeah.
Pagan of the North. I think Heaving Earth's opening riff has massive potential.
Is that an Immortal track? Or
that's the first track off Formulas by Morbid Angel. Heaving Earth is a great song. Bill or Sog has always been my favorite. Morbid Angel got to be the beginning of non-thrash death metal. The grandiose nature of the riffs is just so fresh and cool. Yeah, but Altars is really thrashy. You know?
I think Blessed is also very thrashy in a certain way, but I hear what you mean. They like totally changed the rhythmic inflection, so it's downbeat, not upbeat.
Yeah, there really aren't any pedal point riffs at all.
Well, you could sort of make... It's like a Morbid Angel riff is a series of like 5 pedal point riffs with different roots on each one. You know, da 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 da. You know, like it's like the pedal point riffs just go by very fast.
Yes, I think it's weird because there's a vital connection to thrash, but you end up with something that's not organized melodically the same way.
Yeah.
I think if you want something that really doesn't sound like thrash, it would probably be like Incantation, Suffocation, Immolation. The Asian bands.
The New York bands.
The New York bands, yeah.
I'd even say that, like, Deicide is further away from thrash in a lot of ways. Let's see. Who's watching Wilkins?
Someone's asking, isn't Bill Skriniar from Germany? Bill Skriniar is from Germany.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's not Polish, but that's what we had planned on covering. Yes.
Wilkins and Apples are being watched by my girlfriend, so they are well taken care of. They're getting lots of treats and having a good time.
Hacks Process agrees with us about Morbid Angel and thrash. That makes sense. Yeah. By the way, Hacks, your new record sounds really good. It's
It's very good.
It's not exactly my thing, obviously, but it's really good. And a huge leap upward from the first one. Like, I checked it out a little bit. It's excellent. So good work on that.
Yeah, definitely like the leading edge of like actually good proggy death metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carcass was my foot in the door for extreme metal. You know, Carcass is such a weird band for me. It's like the first couple records should be exactly my thing, just loving like traditional gore grind, but I've never really liked it that much. I've always liked the Carcass clones more than the original Article.
I don't know Carcass at all. Like, when I was first getting into death metal or whatever, I just, like, found it a little bit I was like, that's a little bit gross, man. Like, there are bands that, like, musically, like Repulsion. I'm like, I don't want to look at the maggots on that guy's face. Like, it's fucking gross.
It took you a while to acclimate to, like, gore stuff.
Yeah, which eventually I did. And I think ironically, especially through doing this show.
Yeah.
I'm like, now, pretty, like... If you just look at enough Brutal Death albums, you're just like, I'm pretty fucking desensitized. But yeah, back in the day, I was just like, oh, why do I want to look at that, man? So I need to like kind of go back to it because I suspect that early sort of chaotic, grinding, crusty Carcass is probably pretty sick.
It is. I don't know. I could not really articulate.
Is it not very riffy?
I think it's actually pretty riffy.
All right.
Like, if you go all the way back to the demo, that's a lot noisier. But, like, Reek of Putrefaction has riffs, and Symphony of Sickness
Yeah.
absolutely does. I think symphonies might be your thing.
Just free associating, guys. Something kind of like that we never talk about on the show that's really good is Ass Sucks Anti-Capital.
Yeah.
Just
Ass
saying,
Suck-
really
Ass Suck
good.
is.
Really good, awesome record, and it's pretty much the only leftist extreme metal record to like focus on the things that we find interesting about leftism.
Yeah.
Right. It's oh my god, it's actually about economics, right? It's I listen to something like that and I'm still like, hell yeah, this is super sick. It's and it really just that record has a crazy tone.
Yeah.
Asuk good.
Yeah. Well, I think in general we don't have a lot of cause to talk about it just because the center of the gravity of the show is elsewhere. But like, we really like old school grindcore.
Yeah.
Like that's good. Like
I also think weirdly like Anti-Capital is one of the closest things I've heard to like Stillbirth Machine.
Okay.
Like Order from Chaos and
Yeah.
Asuk are like not that far apart. It's the sort of esoteric third positionist grindism.
Order from Chaos is something I very recently got into after like
It's awesome, right?
yeah, I don't know. I think that when I just heard it when I was younger, I just like slotted it into a war metal band and I ignored it. But then it's like, oh no, this is much more like Axis.
And kind of like it's much more like Axis and like also very very chaotic and weird and has a lot of hardcore in it.
Yeah.
Just straight up hardcore, which you can't hear in Angel Corpse, but you can hear in Ares Kingdom.
Yeah.
Very cool band. It's also a lot like Amoebix or whatever. While, it's one of those great, like we said about Ride for Revenge or Axis or whatever. It's one of those like pure extreme music bands that touches on everything and has just a very cool aesthetic.
Somebody on Instagram was arguing with me that Deicide was no better than Slipknot because they use pop choruses. Well, Deicide is better than Slipknot because Deicide has like 4 really good albums and Slipknot has like 1. So it's like...
Pagan, what if instead of making the case for them listening to more extreme stuff, you just like slipped a few things in there? Do they like One Cent from the Golden Hall? That's like always a good start. What else is good for starting your normie metal friends on more extreme stuff? I was having this conversation with a guy in our YouTube comments a while ago, too. It's like, what's like kind of extreme metal you can play for either pure normies or like normie metalheads?
That's
actually a very good question.
Well, in the Discord, we were actually, once again, just talking about the Committee again the other day, who I think are just like a staggeringly good entry band in black metal. Migla's great for that. Let's see who.
But I think like even
Seer
more
Bliss.
basic. I think all that stuff is like still too weird. Like it has to sound like heavy metal. I think so. Like old raw Amon Amarth, Battles in the North Immortal, not Battles in the North. Sorry, blah. At the Heart of Winter.
Yeah.
At the Heart of Winter was one of my first black metal records, and that's just like big, beefy, and cool. Stuff that's like, what about if they like Slayer, try Darkness Descends.
Yeah.
Right? Dark Angel is like, it's arguably not more extreme than Slayer, but it's definitely more cult.
Yeah.
And definitely more sort of, Slaughter of the Soul. I mean, like, that's...
Pagan in the North says Graveland. He said Graveland will bounce off hard. A distinct through line to Slayer. Also, dude, okay. So then we got something to work with. Yeah, Darkness Descends, dude. The Pleasure to Kill by Creator, although that might be too weird. What else? Like,
well, Throughline to Slayer is.
I mean, At the Gate, Slaughter of the Soul, Throughline to Slayer. Well,
it's also like it kind of wonders like what would they bounce off of? Is it like excessively harsh vocals? Is it like bad production or something?
Yeah.
Or like how many of these things are necessary?
Well, I think like Slayer already has like weird production. Like Rain and Blood has weird production. It's very cold and machinic and thin. Demolition Hammer is a great recommendation. Yeah, Exhorter.
I was just listening to Slaughter in the Vatican in the gym a few months ago.
Sick.
Weird record. Like, cool, but
Yeah,
weird.
it's cool.
The Crown is...
I mean,
a
Bolt
good
Thrower.
entry.
Pagan of the North, Bolt Thrower. If they have a hard time with the growly vocals, I get it, but Bolt Thrower has a through line to Slayer.
Yeah. Rotten Peace says, anything in the mid-Atlantic death metal scene's like Deceased and stuff. That's interesting. Although Deceased is like a really oddball band.
That's kind of a good idea, though. Yeah.
If someone already Hackspawn, he says if somebody already likes Slayer, there's no reason they wouldn't already be listening to Extreme.
Totally wrong.
That's the weird
totally
thing.
wrong.
It totally makes sense.
No.
But it's wrong because they don't scan as an extreme metal band to other people, even though they are kind of like the first.
For a certain
metal.
kind of normal metalhead, Slayer is the limit of extreme, rather than like a jumping off point. For a certain kind of person, it's like Slayer is the really crazy satanic band, and they think of them as a thrash band. So, like, for some people, Slayer exists as part of a thing called the Big Four, right? Like, for some people, Slayer gets put next to fucking Anthrax or whatever, whereas for us, Slayer gets put next to...
Morbid Angel.
Yeah, or like from that time, like Hellhammer, or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Slayer gets put next to Celtic Frost, and other stuff like that. So it's you can really place them either way, and there's something very accessible about Slayer songs in the way that it's got catchy, individually recognizable riffs. So
yeah.
it's
he says, but Hell Awaits is just a slightly slower Altars of Madness. I get your point though about the limit.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're completely correct.
Yeah.
Hell Awaits is just like a slower Altars.
the normies who listen to Slayer probably aren't listening to Hell Awaits.
That's true.
And they're probably not even listening, even though the first record is super catchy, they're probably not listening to that. They'd probably listen to Rain and Blood On.
And they're
And,
probably
like,
just
90s
listening.
shit.
They're
Like,
just
God
listening
Hates Us
to-
All.
And they're just listening to Angel of Death and Raining Blood.
Yes, they're
off
just
of
listening to the
Raining
title track.
Yeah.
So there's just a whole kind of person who likes Slipknot and Slayer. And that's just,
Thoughts on Manowar?
love them.
I like them. I have weird taste. in
Hail!
Like,
Sorry.
But Gods of War is actually like my favorite Manowar record,
Mm-hmm.
like a weird late one. I don't listen to them a ton, but yeah, it's cool.
I mean, I think, like, Hail to England is an awesome record. There's ideas on that you just hear. I mean, honestly, to the death metal guy's point about Graveland having some old heavy metal in it or whatever,
Yeah.
like, some of that early Manowar stuff you can really hear going directly into Graveland. Also, I think I think the song Hail and Kill is one of those. That just is a second wave black metal song. That's an NSBM track. if you take the lyrics to Hail and Kill are some of the hardest shit that anybody in metal has ever written. If you actually listen to the lyrics, they're insane. The snare sound on that sounds like a fucking anvil. Yeah, it's just a perfect song, man. I was listening to that with my buddy a couple weeks ago. The power and dominion are taken by the will, by divine right, hail and kill. He also, so someone just did, Whips and Posters Leave the Hall. Yeah, I have a Hail to England shirt. I think Manowar is a great band and when we talk on the show about sort of like tough power metal from the 80s is a perfect example of that. And yeah, a lot of Bathory, exactly. Like, I think basically just the pagan black metal sound in many ways has more to do with Manowar than it does with Slayer.
Yeah.
Like, it's, with Manowar or with, Manila Road or a number of those other kind of 80s bands. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's see. EGHSRC says intestine ballism is great for that. Doesn't that record have weird production? It's been so many goddamn years since I've listened to them.
It's been a long time.
It's hard to transition from the fun of thrash, even if it's in its most extreme form, to the density and indigestibility of full death metal. Yeah, at a certain point you have to make a jump. you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to make a considerable jump that a lot of people are just not going to really be comfortable with. And, you know, that's fine.
Yeah. I think, like, you know what? Yeah, well, Corthon denies all influence, right? He's, like, the most suspicious narrator of all time.
Yeah.
Or the most sort of, like, most unreliable narrator.
Heard of Venom, dude.
Yeah. Yes, new Brazen Horde record is great. It does have Manowar riffs. In fact, I was listening to Manowar with your buddy from Brazen Horde, so there we go.
Yeah.
I think we're about to chill with him tonight. So, people focus on the baby oil when they should focus on the Conan. Yes, exactly. Well, the other thing, like, look at a fucking promo pic of Bathory. Their Swords promo pic just is Manowar.
Yeah.
And one of these things is supposed to be cult and the other isn't. See, the other thing, Manowar becomes cool when you realize that they completely meant it. It wasn't like... People calling Manowar camp is a way that their puny minds can cope with the majesty of Manowar. For a certain kind of person, Manowar has to be ironic, because otherwise they just don't know how to process it. Manowar was not ironic. Also, like, if you think about the shit they were singing about and all of their tropes, like, they were just talking about, like, the most hardcore version of, like, Nietzsche and Vikings in the 80s. Their audience had to be, like, 50% bikers and gangs. It was, like, not, 80s Manowar has more in common with an RAC band than you might think, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
Manowar was not just for the lulz.
Yeah.
It was, the fact that Fortress sounds like Manowar is, like, very influenced by Manowar. That's not just something about Fortress, it's telling you something about Manowar.
Yeah.
That was sort of, folkish pagan battle metal from the 80s. And, of course they oiled themselves, because you must glisten for the gods, right? You know? How can Zeus see you cleave your enemies asunder if you're not well oiled?
I feel like people don't naturally make the jump by themselves. If they don't, then they aren't meant for it. Nobody held my hand to get me here commenting on the Terminus live stream at 10 p.m. Yeah, I mean, there's certain personality types that are going to be able to negotiate that gap. I think there really is no perfect midpoint between Slayer and quote-unquote real death metal. I think you're just enticed to go further.
High on Fire.
Oh,
I think High on Fire actually would be a very good thing to try. Like, maybe like Death is This Communion era. That stuff is just, it's abrasive in certain ways, but it's very catchy. It's big and beefy, right? A certain kind of friend. I have a friend who also just like always is like, man, can you give me some metal Rex? And I give him metal Rex, and he's like, dude, I can't do. I'm like, dude, listen to Spite Extreme Wing Ultra. It's like my friend's like, man, I've been reading a lot of Evola. Can you give me some metal records? Listen to Spite Extreme Wing Ultra. And he's like, dude, I can't do blast beats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do with you, bro? And what he really likes is like, you know, Motorhead and Electric Wizard and Pantera. And I kind of get what he wants it to sort of be big and beefy and kind of like rock and roll.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try to move someone from big beefy hamburger music, something like High on Fire or Bolt Thrower or whatever is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Castle Rat is just someone who took the aesthetic of the Dungeon Lust Instagram page and turned that into a band. I think Dungeon Lust is a great page. I think that's a very well curated sort of highbrow Instagram page. She does great stuff. I don't think anybody needed to turn that into a band.
Castle Rat appeals to me because I like Gingers and Bush. The music is okay. You know, I love Gingers and Bush, but Castle Rat still sucks, so I'm not going to listen to it.
Exactly. Yeah, you could. There are other ways. Believe it or not, there are other ways to find those things.
Yeah.
I hear that on the internet.
Why would I listen to Castle Rat when I can watch pornography?
Right. Ginger, Bush, vintage. There you go.
An exact search term I've used before, believe me. Yeah, true. Sludge here has a lot of good rock crossover appeal. Yeah, I mean, I guess we are kind of forgetting that, like, if you want the rock structure and approachability with more extreme timbres, sludge is a good way to get there. I just feel like, when people go down the sludge route, they get stuck there. They get stuck in the sludge. Yeah. And then they just turn into fucking stoners that want to talk about Vow all day or something.
Landfish is saying show him Westwall. Honestly, he'd probably like that. You're right.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's actually a good call, man. I might give that a try. Yeah. What is it like, Leonidas, we stand with you to the very last! Yeah. Oh, God, that's a great record.
That's do you think there will be some interest from people that discover quote-unquote extremity via recent hardcore bands like Knocked Loose, or is that too far of a stretch? No, I think that's, completely feasible. Because as silly as it seems to us, because we're really invested in this music, getting over the timbres is, the hardest thing. To get people into...
Yeah, if you can listen to something that obnoxious, you can listen to, Belkets for Nordrevise.
Yeah. Well, it's because, what are the sticking points? It's, it's harsh vocals, and it's, really extreme guitar distortion, and, I don't know, maybe, extreme drumming. So if you're listening to something like Knocked Loose, you're experiencing all of that already. The hard part is over. You get to extreme metal, pretty easily.
Yeah, listen to, Sacramentum after that. You're like, oh, this is so tuneful. Except you might be like, oh, this isn't hard enough. But okay, you can listen to, Ride for Revenge. I don't know. Conan the band, I think as far as what it is, Conan is a pretty good sludgy stoner band. But, there's just other stuff that's better. Yeah. I mean, I think Reverend Bizarre is on the more... That's an extreme trad doom band that's very good.
Minority friends get thrown into deep end, sink or swim. Yeah, that's fair. Just fucking... Yeah, just put on Forgotten Spell and just, make them cope.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Battle Ruins is a great band, man. That's yeah. I remember the, Yeah, I agree. Also, Hacks, yes, he did something about the drumming. Uniform drumming that's, in the foreground. People don't like those repetitive beats. That's what Parliament called it when they tried to outlaw techno. Music with repetitive beats. They needed a catch-all. But, something about sort of hypnotic percussive attack. Somebody's like, I think people are like, how can I listen to it all at once?
Yeah.
It's so fast. And you're like, that's the continuum. You're fine. Just relax. It's,
in my opinion, the caveat for hardcore kids to get into extreme metal is that it's not fun music, and we don't have fun all the time over here. Okay, well...
That's true.
Well, but we need to clarify something here. Are you talking about getting hardcore kids into the stuff we cover on the show? Because that's already,
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff that most metalheads, even in extreme metal, don't like. It's unfortunately, a large amount of extreme metal is, fun party music. Yeah. And that can occasionally be okay, but it's certainly not the center of what we're interested in.
Bleeding is blasting. Bleeding Through kind of rules, though. I like Bleeding Through.
I mean, I can listen to Love Lost.
I also like, the first couple of Treyu records, so, it's, one more thing I was gonna say. Oh yeah, when we were talking about new music, a couple things. The Precipice EP out on Bandcamp I really like. That's a Quebecois guy. I wonder if he's a member of Oriflamme, which we covered years ago. Yeah. Which has grown on me more and more over time.
That's such a good record.
Massive. I underrated it when we first heard it. It's really good. So I wonder if he's in that band. There's a similar songwriting sensibility to it. But it's a lot darker. It's kind of like DSBM. Precipice is really good. The other thing I should throw a shout out to is, I'm not sure I can remember the name of the band, but it's the record. A lot of our friends have been posting it. It's called, the title is Ultra Metal Outlaws. Ultra Metal Outlaws.
By who?
I can't remember, but I listened to some of it and it's extremely good.
Really?
And it's in that Latin American sort of ultra metal style, which I don't understand.
Neither do I.
But
I've always
like,
been like,
we need Big Billy to explain that to us. But
Yeah.
that's something they talk about all the time. But I would say it's basically like ripping real black speed metal with like the new wave of British heavy metal, like more like actual melodic speed metal guitar.
yeah.
It's like jism and like UK metal punk and stuff.
Okay.
Played with a much heavier low end sound and stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of Syphilitic Vaginas too.
Okay.
But that is a great record that people should check out.
Oh, the band is called Longinus Wound. Yes, it's which is a cool name, and that's a very cool record that I'd like to listen to more.
I'll have to check
On that note, I gotta take a shit. So.
Well, on that note, we're looking to socialize tonight.
Yeah, let's go hang out with the sweaty males.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been really good talking to you. Looking forward to seeing some of you at the show tomorrow, and we'll do this again real soon. And keep your eyes peeled for more great Terminus content in the future.